Jam Butty Boy is the reluctant fell runner. Episode 16. Falling at the last. The clue is in the name. Every time JB thought about how well he had run at wash day, he had a nagging thought. Over the week, the thought did not go away. He went to speak to his wife about it. "What do you think?" he said. "Well, if you want to do it, you go for it. Just promise me you'll be safe, that's all," she said. "Well, if I think about it, I'll never do it," said JB. "It's probably got to be this weekend, or never. I'm not going to be able to have a long build-up to it. I'll be exhausted. I won't be able to do it anyway without help, so it's probably not going to happen anyway." "What are you going to do then?" said his wife. "I'll send a message to Camo in Yorkshire. If they're not up for it, well, then it's a non-starter, and that's it," he said. "So," she said, "it's in the lap of the gods." JB went to his phone and typed a message for Camo in Yorkshire. Before pressing it, he looked at his wife. "Here goes," he said, and pressed send. An hour later, he went to his wife in the kitchen and showed her his phone. "No messages," he said. "Oh well, you tried," she said. There was a knock at the door. "I'll get it," said his wife. JB heard the door open, and a second later, Camo and Yorkshire came bounding into the kitchen like two happy puppies. "You're going for it! You're going for the Norbert! Can't believe it! I'm so happy!" shouted Camo.
"The Norbert Norbert round,"
corrected Yorkshire. Yes, yes, said Camo, grabbing hold of JB in a tight bear squeeze. "Whoa, Camo, don't get me heart rate up," said JB. "I don't want to burn out with a big adrenaline rush before you even start." "Can't help it," said Camo. "I'm so excited. As soon as you sent that message, we got onto each other and agreed to join back together. You've brought the team back together, Jam Butty."
"Yes, indeed you have,"
said Yorkshire. Yes, yes, said Camo, hurrying him along. Tell him!
"It's all organised," said Yorkshire. "Between Camo and I and all the gang, you don't have to do anything, apart from turn up and run the thing. Camo has a team to take you over legs 1 and 2 with Hell's Fell. The veteran has a team for all the big hills on leg 3, Scuffle Pickle, and myself and 3 Copes have got a team for legs 4 and 5.
"Already?" said JB.
"Well, the team is pretty much permanently ready. We just needed an idiot to go for it. And that's you, Jam Butty Boy,"
said Yorkshire. "Thanks," said JB. "After legs 1 and 2, I'll go home for a bit, get a bit of kip, and then I'll come up to Candlewick, come out and meet you, and we can do the running together," said Camo. "Thanks for all this, lads," said JB.
"Right,"
said Yorkshire.
"We'll leave you to it so you can conserve your energy and give you a ring tomorrow morning. Just get any food or drink you want, bag it up with which legs, and stick it in the van."
He saw them out of the door and turned to his wife. "Bloody hell," he said. "This thing's actually going to happen. I wonder how far I'm going to get." Candlewick. It was just before 11 at night, twilight. The centre of the little market town was fairly busy, with the night people out and about near pubs and restaurants, and an out-of-place group of nervous fell runners who could not keep still. For the 10th time, Jam Butty looked at the time on the clock tower. It triggered Camo to look at his watch. "How long before kick-off?" said JB. It was like his mind had wiped off the time he had just seen, or could not process it. Camo looked at his watch again, even though he'd just done it. 5 minutes, he said. "Oh my God," said JB. "Am I really doing this?" A wave of nervousness shook his body. "I wish I could just magically appear here at the start line and go. Not all this travelling up, getting your stuff ready. It's exhausting," he said. "Yeah, I found that the worst part," said Camo. Yorkshire came up to him with a serious face and put his hand on his shoulder.
"Just imagine you're doing it for your family," he said. "When it gets really hard and painful and you feel like giving up and you've got nothing left, just picture them and think you don't want to let them down. That will push you through."
JB went tense at the thought. Camo came up to him. "No, you don't want to do that. Imagine it's the Second World War," he said. "You're a Marine commando going over the Alps on a mission. You've just blown something up and the Nazis are after you. If they catch you, you'll die. That'll spur you on and you'll keep going then." "Bloody hell," said JB out loud, but to himself, feeling even worse. Peaches came up to him and straightened his buff and head torch on his head. "That's better," she said. "Forget what they've just said. You're just going for a nice day out on the fells with your friends. So just relax and enjoy it." JB let out a little laugh. And all the tension went out of him. "Thanks," he said. She smiled. "It's time!" JB took a deep breath and started to climb the steps of the boathouse. "My God, my legs feel like lead. How am I going to be able to do this?" 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! And we're off! JB had had his hand on the door. On the word go, he came down the steps, and the little group of runners jogged down the main street of the little town. They had a few glances on the way. Suddenly they turned off right through a ginnel and headed off towards the mountains. Leg 1. The first leg was only 3 fells: Cat's Paw, Big Beaver and Bend Over. But that meant steep ups and sharp downs. It was a clear, moonless night, and out over the fells there was no light pollution. "Hang on a moment," said JB. "What's up, buddy?" said Camo, coming running across. "What do you need?" "Can we stop for a moment and switch our head torches off?" he said. The little group of runners all paused, turned their head torches off, and everyone looked up at the night sky filled with 1,000,000 stars. "That's nice," said Camo. "Yes, that's beautiful," said Melanie. "OK, let's get going again." They all switched their torches back on and started jogging. "I hope you don't regret that later," said Camo. "There's a long way to go, like. I hope that half a minute doesn't mean you miss out at the end." "Oh, it's all right," said JB. "Just a group of friends having a day out on the fells." Melanie laughed. When they got to the top of Bend Over, and JB knew it was Hell's Fell, he became apprehensive about doing it in the dark. But one of the runners Camo had picked up knew a good way down. In the dark, and just looking at his footing with his head torch, without going past that ledge area, and without looking down at any of the precipitous drops. "Thank God for that," he thought, when they came off Hell's Fell. When they were coming into Thrillcold, JB assessed his legs and his energy. "Well, that wasn't easy, but this is the freshest I've felt after a leg," he thought. "I feel reasonably good." "What do you want to eat and drink?" said Camo. "I'll run ahead and make sure they've got it ready for you." Camo shot off with JB's order. He made his way down the last of the rugged hill, watching his footing in the dark. The little group of runners were strung out, concentrating on their own descent. Eventually, he was off and onto the flat and heading towards the ground crew. There was another team, set up not far away, doing their attempt. It was all very British and polite. Open-doored camper vans, trestle tables, gas-lit camp stoves, cups of tea and coffee, chit-chat. At his team, there was a spare camp chair set out and ready for him, with pride of place, like a little throne. He was passed a mug of sweet tea and some food. He was being fussed, but could not concentrate properly and take it all in. He wanted to rest, but it was all too active. He saw Melanie over at her car. "Is this it?" he thought. "The absolute final last time I'm going to see her? Is that going to be it? She just drives off, and it's all strange and flat." "Here," said Camo, passing him a pair of waterproof socks. "You'll need these through that bog over leg 2. "Thanks," said JB. It was nice to have a fresh pair of socks on. He sat up and looked around. Everyone was busy, helter-skelter, doing something, and there he was, the supposed centre of it all, with no one talking to him or even looking at him. Everything seemed surreal, time both standing still and racing past all at the same time. "Ready when you are," said Camo. "We'd better be off soon, like." "Yeah," said JB, slipping back into reality. He looked up and saw Melanie's car was still there. He stood up and looked around. There was no sign of her. "Ready?" said Camo. "Yeah," said JB. He looked around, but no Melanie. "That's it then," he thought. He walked under the collapsible awning, following on behind Camo. When he ducked under it, Melanie was there. "Not going without saying goodbye?" she said, smiling. "Didn't want to," he said. "But you'd disappeared." Camo and the others walked a little way off and half turned away. Melanie's face changed, and she stepped forward and put her arms around his neck, and he put his arms around her waist. She came in to him for a moment and then pulled away. "You'd better be going," she said. He could see the reflection of the car lights shining in her wet eyes. "You won't be there at the finish," he said, "if I make it." "No," she said. "But you will make it. Just a little stroll out with your mates on the fells, remember?" "Yes," he said. She passed him something wrapped in kitchen roll. "Something for the fell," she said. "Okay," he said. The other runners moved forward a little, giving him the hint. "You'd better go," she said. "Don't forget me too quickly, will you?" "Impossible," he said. "Silly peaches." She smiled, and then her face broke. She turned and did not look back. Camo started walking up the fell, and JB followed on. He was part way up the fell when he watched her car leave. He unwrapped the kitchen roll, already knowing what it was from the feel of it. In the dark, he smelled the fruity smell of the peach. It sent a little tingle down his spine and transported him. JB took a bite and had a burst of sweetness into his mouth and turned and set off up the hill. Leg 2. Leg 2 had 12 peaks to tick off, so just by pure maths it was more undulating than leg 1. The 12 peaks were Cloth Ears, Noddy, Doddy, Shoddy, Prayer, Pale Shadow, Loverman, Anne Boleyn, Nether Regions, Carbint Pike, Green Shield Stamps, and lastly, Bumshoe. There was a long, leg-sapping boggy section on the tops, and it turned cold and windy. They trudged on silently in the dark. JB felt low energy, low morale. "How am I going to complete this?" he thought to himself. "I'm not even 2/5 of the way through it yet, and I've got that monster leg 3 coming up next." "How you feeling?" said Camo.
"Pretty crappy, actually," said JB. "I'm bricking it now for leg 3, if I feel like this now."
"Hang on in there, buddy," said Camo. "I felt like that round here. Wait until the sun comes up."
When the sun rose and the birds started singing, it gave everyone a lift. Camo ran ahead again at dumbbells to make sure everything was organised. As he came into his ground crew at dumbbells, they all gave him a little cheer.
"Hooray! Come on, here he goes. Keep it up, Jam Butty."
He went to sit down in the now familiar little camp chair, and someone passed him a cup of tea with sugar in. Camo came over.
"You're doing really well."
Camo ripped off his long waterproof socks.
"Here's another pair of fell shoes, and socks, and a fresh top. I'd let your feet dry off first, though,"
said Camo. JB was sat there on the little camp chair. He had his pint pot of tea, a cheese and ham sandwich, and a piece of flapjack to choose from. Everyone else had left him alone for a few minutes, not knowing what to say. The ground crew that had seen him off over the 2 legs was now talking to the ground crew that was going to take him over the next 2. They'd all made friends in their little group, and JB suddenly felt strangely alone.
"Not surprising, really,"
he thought. "They've been together, sat here all making friends, while I've been out there. They've probably made friends over the last couple of hours, and I've just rocked up and some of them don't even know me." The veteran was there. He was going to be taking charge of this, the biggest leg of all 5. He came walking across.
"How you doing, Jam Butty? You all right, like?"
"Well, bit tired, and to be honest, I'm bricking it over this 3rd leg, with scuffle pickle and all that."
"You'll do fine. You're doing great, lad. You'll be tired, no doubt, but you look okay, from what I've seen of people doing it like. Don't you worry. You stick with me. I'll get you round."
There was something reassuring about his confidence. "Thanks," said JB. Leg 3. Leg 3 was the biggest of the 5 legs, and put an end to many of the Norbert attempts. It was the place most people failed at. It had 15 fell tops to mark off, with 6,500 feet of climb over a full 18 miles. The 15 fells were Robber Falls, Young Cow, Corporal Jones, High Rise Flats, Knotty Thumbs, Cheese and Pickle, Fish Sticks, Leaves Russell, Bow and Arrow, Ask What, Not Quite, Sick Note, Long Shags, Scuffle Pickle, and lastly, Scuffle. At the start of leg 3, one of the young fit runners shot off.
"Whoa! Whoa!" shouted the veteran immediately. "Hold your horses there, like! What are you doing?"
"What?" said the young lad.
"Don't go racing off, like! It's not your day, like! This is Jam Butty's day! You go at his pace, like! Not yours! He's done 11,500 feet and 28 mile! And he's a long way to go yet, like! You can do yours at your pace, like! And we'll support you then, with that, like!" "Who? Sorry. Wasn't thinking, sorry,"
he said. The veteran turned and winked at JB.
"Don't you worry, Jam Butty. You take your time, like. I know all the little shortcuts, like. You've got this. You want to talk, like? We'll talk, like. You want it quiet, like? We'll be quiet, like. This is your day, like."
"Cheers, thanks," said JB. Over the start of leg 3, he felt great and got a second wind.
"You're smashing this, like," said the veteran. "You're half an hour behind schedule, like, but you'll easily be able to make that up on leg 4 and 5, like. The timings always leave a lot at the end, like, for when you're really going slow, like." For a short period of time, JB allowed himself the thought that he might actually be able to finish. "How you feeling like?" said the veteran. "I'm actually feeling and moving pretty good at the moment," said JB. "If you're feeling great like, I wouldn't pick up too much speed like," said the veteran. "You'll be due another dip soon like. You don't want to crash, so keep a little back like. You always want a little more in reserve like, for when it gets really bad like." "Okay, thanks, great," said JB. Not far from the descent into Wash Day came the dip. "You all right like?" said the veteran. "No," said JB. "I'm running on empty here. I think my battery's run dry." "Yeah, ha ha," said the veteran. "It does feel like that like, doesn't it? I remember that feeling all right like." "What do I do about it?" said JB. "Not a lot you can do like," said the veteran. "Eat and drink what you need like, but your body's done the miles like, so it will be buggered like. You've just got to push on like. You might get another boost later on like, but probably not like. You've just got to tough it out now, like." "Oh, right," said JB. He felt that he had suddenly become an old man, doddering onwards. On a plateau near one of the tops, JB saw an angel. She looked like an old woman with dyed black hair with grey roots showing in a centre parting. She had on silver wings that were tied at her wrists and to her waist, and she was humming and circling her arms so that silver wings made a curved screw shape, and then she rotated her arms the other way, and the screw shape rippled up and down with the turn. JB carried on trotting past. When the angel vision had gone out of his sight, he turned to the veteran. "I think I might have to quit at Wash Day," said JB. "I'm beginning to hallucinate. Not rocks turning into skulls, but I'm sure I just saw an angel then." "Oh, good God," said the veteran. "You saw it too like. I thought I was hallucinating too like, ha ha." "Bloody hell," thought JB. "What on earth is she doing up here? Oh, and I'm going to have to carry on. How on earth am I going to do the rest of this? I'm buggered now." He thought of all those runs on old Duffer, getting to the stream and switching his mind off so he could just turn around and go back up again. "I'll just do that," he thought. "At Wash Day, I'm just going to turn my brain off so I can carry on. I'm not going to think about finishing it. I'm not going to think about walking. Brain's going off." On the descent to Wash Day, it was a long scree-field descent off Scuffle into the stop at Wash Day. Yorkshire headed up the enthusiastic reception committee. Here he is, Jam Butty Boy," he shouted. Well done, Jam Butty." JB hurried to the chair to take his weight off his feet for a bit. "Right, what do you want? What can we get you?" said three people all at once. "I don't feel like eating," he said, "but I probably should. Surprise me." "How are you feeling?" said Yorkshire, beaming enthusiastically. "Yorkshire, I'm knackered. I'm knackered," said JB. "You know, what knackered must feel like when it's knackered." "Ha ha, good one, Jam Butty," said Yorkshire. JB was too tired to talk. "So are you carrying on then?" said Three Coats. "Of course he's carrying on," said Yorkshire to him. Then he turned to JB. You are, aren't you?" "I'm not thinking about it," said JB. "If I think about it, I'll stop. So I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just going to sit, eat, and then go." They could see he was tired, so left him alone for a few minutes. JB could hear the veteran talking to Yorkshire about him a little way away, as if he wasn't there. "How is he doing?" said Yorkshire. "Slow on the ups and the downs like, but he is managing to keep up some of the speed on some of the flats like, he said.
Do you think he will make it in under 24 hours? Said Yorkshire.
Touch and go like, said the veteran. If he was fresh like, easy, but he's looking tired like. Definitely touch and go like. Don't push him too hard to catch up the time he's done like. Chip away at it, a bit by bit like.
Good, said Yorkshire. Good advice. We'll do that. We won't push him too hard. Just chip away at it like you say.
Leg 4. Leg 4 had some big fells. 9 tops to tick off in all. You Bugger, New Bike, Snoopy, Sleepy Pillow, You Burke, Clark Gable, Mabel, Bad Breath, and Gruss Got.
Better make a move,
said Yorkshire to JB. JB used his arms to help push himself to his feet. His leg muscles felt like tenderized steaks. Every step was painful. His legs did not want to take his own body weight, let alone move. The veteran came across, put his big hands on both his shoulders, and looked him directly in the face. Right, like! Someone has to do this, like! He said. The veteran was well over 6 feet tall, and a head taller than JB. It's decision time now, like, Jam Butty, he said. This is going to be harsh, like, but you know, once you start up, you bugger, this ground crew are going to pack up, like, and drive off to meet you at hospital past slate mines, like. There'll be no one here if you have to come back down, like. You are now in the remotest part of England. Literally the biggest hole to climb out of in the whole country, like. Once that car goes out of this valley, like, you're only getting out of here on your own 2 feet, like. Understand, like? If you're gonna quit, like, now's the time to do it, like. Behind the veteran were Yorkshire and Three Coats and everyone else, looking at him with shocked faces at the sudden brutality of the statement and wondering which way he would go with his decision. JB was so tired he felt like crying and could not speak. He just nodded and set off walking towards You Bugger. Good lad, said the veteran. Look after him up there, Yorkie, like.
Will do,
said Yorkshire, trotting off to be just in front of JB. On the long 3,000-foot ascent of You Bugger, JB found it too tiring to talk. It hurt to try to think and keep up with it. His mind was too slow and it was too painful. Eventually they gave up trying to chat to him, and he went into his own little bubble to try to conserve energy. Every so often they would offer him food or drink, but they kept themselves occupied by chatting to themselves. The pace was gentle for them. JB did his best to trot on the flat sections, but he could not always manage it. He could see them looking at their watches and discussing his time with each other, and he knew he was behind. There's nothing much I can do, he thought. I've no accelerator. If I get round, I'll be pleased with that. One of the new runners had a clasp on his rucksack that kept clanking, but not every time. That's annoying, that, thought JB. It's not even to a rhythm. What's the word for it? He walked on, getting more and more frustrated that he could not think of the word. Dissonance, he thought. That's it, dissonance. Remembering made him happy for a few minutes, and then his frustration with the intermittent clanging started to grow again. How can he not notice it? He's doing it on purpose to annoy me, he thought. Why doesn't he stop it? Why don't you ask him? No, because he's doing it on purpose, so he should know to stop himself. Do you not think perhaps it's because you're tired? You're thinking like this. Why not just ask him? If he stops, you know it's not on purpose. OK, thought JB. Would you mind stopping that clanking on your backpack? Said JB, in a voice that seemed slow and alien to him. I'm finding it distracting.
Of course, no problem, said the guy, apologetically. Sorry about that.
Didn't realise. The man tidied up and joined back in with the rest of the group. JB managed to run a flat section for a few seconds, and there was no clanking noise from the backpack. Go on, admit it, he thought to himself. You missed that clanking now. It gave you something to distract you, and now you've got nothing. You could ask him to untie it again, he thought. Leg 4 seemed to last forever. The pace was obviously too slow for everyone else, and they found it a little depressing, but tried to keep it from him.
OK, said Yorkshire. We have a long descent into Hospital Pass now. We're 35 minutes behind schedule. If you're going to try and make it in time, you'll have to pick up the pace and not use your full rest time.
JB was staring at him.
OK,
said Yorkshire. OK, said JB. On the descent, JB started to pick up the pace. He concentrated on not letting his knees give way to avoid face planting into the ground.
Where did this pace come from?
Said Three-Coats to Yorkshire. Yorkshire looked at his watch.
He can't stop long at Hospital Pass, he said. But even then, I don't think he's going to quite make it in time. I think he will finish now, but if I had to guess, I'd say just outside of 24 hours. Unfortunately.
Oh well,
said Three-Coats.
He can always try again next year, I suppose.
There were a couple of other teams set up at the slate mines. They all cheered him off the fell. Hey, come on, fella! You're doing really well! Stick with it!
Well, that's jolly nice of them all,
said Yorkshire to JB.
What a nice little community we all are.
Yes, said JB, speaking slowly. I'm not going to stop at Hospital Pass.
What's that?
Said Yorkshire. I'm not stopping at Hospital Pass, said JB. I'm going straight through. Can you tell everyone thanks and grab my road trainers for the last section, and if possible, grab me a coffee with some sugar in and a piece of flapjack? Yorkshire's eyes lit up.
Yes, my dear friend, he said. Yes, I will.
Leg 5. The ground crew at Hospital Pass were all ready and waiting for him, and he waved and ran past them. Thanks, everyone, he said, passing by.
What's that? What's going on?
Shouted someone.
What's going on?
Said another.
What's happening, Yorkie? Nothing,
shouted Yorkshire, stopping to tell them.
Nothing's wrong. It's great. It's on, everybody. He wants his road trainers and a coffee. Quick. And put plenty of sugar in it.
There was a mad scramble about, and then Yorkshire was whooping and hollering and chasing after JB and the rest of the group. When they were going uphill, Yorkshire was by JB's side.
Oh, this is brilliant! If you push on a little, you have a chance of doing it. Think of that. All we've ever dreamed of. And you could be the one to do it, Jam Butty Boy,
he said. JB was so tired, he had to speak in short bursts. Don't get your hopes up yet, he said. I'm actually done here. I don't know how I'm still upright. This is not tiredness, it's way beyond that. I could keel over any moment.
You need some food inside you. You need energy,
said Yorkshire, concerned. JB slowly shook his head because even that hurt. No. I'll puke. Just water. Now, he managed to say. Yorkshire rummaged about in a front pocket on his rucksack.
Here, take one of these,
he said, handing him a gel. I thought you were against these, said JB in his slow way. Yorkshire shrugged.
The only rule, as we found out via Camo's snow sliding event, is you have to get around on your own 2 feet. Says nothing about gels or no gels.
JB bit the packet open with his teeth and squeezed the gooey gel in and then immediately spat it out. Ugh! Can't do it! JB took a swig of water from a bottle he had in his hand and spat out. Yorkshire took his rucksack off.
I've been saving these for this leg, he said.
He pulled out a plastic bag wrapped up and took out a foil-wrapped square. When he opened it, JB could see what it was. Jam Butties, he said.
Your favourite, said Yorkshire. I made them myself.
He offered him the sandwiches and he took one. You've cut the crusts off, you posh bugger.
Always, ha ha, laughed Yorkshire. Of course. We're not barbarians, you know. Only one last felt to do now.
Even JB's thoughts came in slow words that he had to search for and wait for. Most of the round is done now, but this last section is interminable. When they went over the last one, his little running crew gave him a cheer. How am I doing for time? He asked Yorkshire. Yorkshire had been checking and did not need to look at his watch.
You've done a good effort, Jam Butty, but you're still a bit behind, he said. If you were just normal and setting off now, you would easily do it. Easy. But when you're like this... Look, whatever happens, I have to say this. I'm proud of you, Jam Butty.
Thanks, Yorkie, said JB. They were eventually off the fells and just had the long path and road section to do.
Sit down and I'll put your road shoes on, said Yorkshire.
Can you do it while I'm stood up? He said. I might not get back up again. When he had his trainers on, he calculated the distance and the time he had left. In his mind, he wiped out all he had done before and just looked at the last section. Right, he thought, this is like the last run in to the car. I don't have to save anything now. I can do this. JB started running and picking up speed.
Come on, Jam Butty,
said Yorkshire, running alongside him.
That's it, that's it!
A short while later, Camo and another runner JB had never seen before came running up to meet them. Camo rode him on. Come on, JB! You can do this! You're going to have to pick it up a bit, buddy, but you can do this! I can't push harder, said JB. You've got to if you want to make it, said Camo. You don't want to have to come back and do this all again, just for the sake of missing by a few minutes, do you? JB did not speak. The words are meaningless, he thought to himself. He might as well ask me to fly. He ran on for a mile with them shouting encouragement at him, and he did not hear a word. He was in his own little bubble, just trying to survive. Suddenly he recognised the last run into the town centre. You've literally got 5 minutes to get there, said Camo, looking at his watch. You're going to have to pick up the pace, buddy. I can't do it, said JB. I've got nothing left. Come on, yes you can. I really can't, said JB, desperate. Camo turned into one of his old drill sergeants. Get those feet up, you snivelling little piece of shit! You worm! You useless maggot! You're right, you'll never do this, you! You might as well quit now, you bloody useless waste of space! You'll never do it, you Jam Butty! JB started to get angry at the tirade and started to pick up speed. That's it! Shouted Camo. That's it, like! Coming into the bottom of the town.
You've only got 3 minutes left, shouted Yorkshire. It's going to be touch and go.
Camo ran ahead. Get out of the way! Get out of the way! He shouted, waving aside innocent pedestrians walking in the town centre. After shooing one family out of the way, a man turned to his wife.
"Bloody fell runners,"
he said. "Yes," nodded his wife. Camo saw one of the group who'd come to see if JB could finish it.
"We'd given up hope," he said. "We thought he might have quit. He's cutting it fine, isn't he? I'll get the others out the pub."
He ran into the pub and started shouting. The group inside came out rushing to see him plodding heavy-legged up the high street.
"Come on, JB, you can do it."
"Come on, Jam Butty, nearly there." "What's going on here?" said a male bystander. "He's doing the Norbert Norbert," said Camo out of the side of his mouth so that he did not take his eyes off JB.
"What's the Norbert Norbert?" said the man's partner.
"He's just run 66 mile over 42 Lake District mountain peaks. 27,000 feet of climb. He's got to touch that door before the next 30 seconds are up to do the challenge." "No chance he's done that. That's the whole bloody Lake District," said the man. "Exactly," said Camo. "Look it up. The Norbert Norbert round." "No, I don't believe that," said the man. Camo got angry. "Yes, he bloody has," he said. "Look at the state of him. Now get out of his way, will you?" JB reached the bottom of the stairs panting and grabbed hold of the steel banister to help pull himself up.
"Oh, these stairs," he said, lifting his feet.
10 seconds, shouted Camo.
"He's not going to make it,"
said Three Coats. JB hobbled on up. 5 seconds, shouted Camo. JB took a step and then...
"He's tripped, he has,"
said Three Coats.
"No, it's a dive and he's touched the door,"
shouted Yorkshire.
"Stop the clock! Stop the clock!"
JB looked around, lying flat on the floor, exhausted. "Did I do it?" he said.
"Did he do it? Has he made it?"
said the voices. JB could see Camo looking at the watch and pointing at it, open-mouthed, speechless. Yorkshire got hold of his hand and turned it to see. His eyebrows shot up and his mouth dropped open. Camo and Yorkshire both looked at each other and then to JB and then screamed into the night. War! No! War! The end. The postscript. JB and Camo were out for a pleasant run up Old Duffer Pike together. Camo said, "Hang on, I've got you something." "Oh?" said JB. Camo got his little rucksack off and pulled out something and handed it to JB. It was a black buff. "Oh, wow. You didn't have to," said JB. "It's my pleasure, buddy," said Camo. "I really appreciate that," said JB. They carried on running up the hill, which was always a struggle. In between taking breaths to get up the steep hill, Camo turned and spoke out of the side of his mouth. "I might give it another go, you know," he said. "I thought you might," smiled JB. For those of you who wish to know, the Norbert Norbert round is 66 miles, 27,000 feet of climb, all to be done within 24 hours. The start is at Candlewick Boat House. Fell 1 is Cat's Paw of 3,054 feet. 2 is Big Beaver at 2,265 feet. 3 is Bend Over, 2,847 feet, to come in for the first rest stop at Thrill Cold. So far a cumulative height of 5,500 feet.
That's just too boring. Here, hand it over to me, Jam Butty. I can do a better job than that. OK. Fell 4 is Clothiers at 2,382 feet. I don't know. Fell 5 is Noddy at 2,807 feet. To move on to not far away, Fell 6 is Doddy at 2,584 feet. And then it's on to Fell 7, Shoddy at 2,756 feet. Fell 8 is Prayer at 2,889 feet. Fell 9 is Pale Shadow at 2,832 feet. For 10, just like myself, Loverman, 3,033 feet, followed by Mind Your Head, Fell 11, and Berlin at 3,116 feet. 12, Nether Regions, 2,910 feet. 13, I'm not quite sure I like the sound of this, Carbint Pike at 2,810 feet. 14, for those of you remember, is Green Shield Stamps at 2,864 feet. And 15 is Bumshoe at 2,863 feet. So you have your second rest stop at Dumbbells Pit Stop for 11,500 of cumulative feet so far.
Here, give that to me, Yorkie. I'll finish the rest of it. Fell 16 is Robber Falls. That's 1,811 feet. 17 is Young Cow. 1,762 feet. 18, don't be panicking so far, is Corporal Jones at 2,414 feet. Fell 19 is High Rise Flats, 2,500 feet. At Fell 20, watch out with your shoelaces, is Knotty Thumbs at 2,351 feet. And 21, don't mind if I do, is Cheese and Pickle at 2,415 feet. 22, not keen on these, Fish Sticks, 2,323 feet. Fell 23 is Leaves Russell, which of course they do. It's 2,106 feet. Fell 24 is Bow and Arrow at 2,960 feet. And 25, you may ask, is Ask What at 2,903 feet. You're not quite there. On 26 Fell is Not Quite, 2,984 feet. And Fell 27, you will be feeling this, you'll need Sick Note at 3,025 feet. 28, what we all enjoy, is Long Shags at 3,054 feet. 29 is Scuffle Pickle, the tallest in England, 3,205 feet. Last on leg 3 is Scuffle itself, 3,162 feet. So that you come in at wash day for a cumulative total so far of 18,000 feet.
I don't see why I'm always last. Fell 31 is You Bugger at 2,058 feet. Fell 32, what we all like for Christmas, is New Bike at 2,629 feet. Fell 33 is Snoopy, 2,687 feet. 34, you'll be needing one of these by now, is Sleepy Pillow, 2,927 feet. 35, I don't quite like saying this, 35 is You Burke at 2,630 feet. 36, my grandma used to like him, make me watch him on black and white films, Clark Gable. Said she married my granddad because he looked like him. 2,949 feet. 37 is Mabel at 2,628 feet. 38, I don't like the accusation, is Bad Breath at 2,344 feet. And lastly, on leg 4 is Grossgott. I did German at school, but I've forgotten it. 2,287 feet. Is nobody else looking? Right, well, I'll carry on then. To come into Hospital Pass, last pit stop before the last leg, leg 5. It's the shortest leg, but you'll be tired by then. Just 3 to go now. Fell 40 is Dad's shed. Oh, yeah, I got one of them. Oh, great, aren't they? 2,473 feet. Its second to last 41 is Wind Scratch at 2,385 feet. And lastly, all on its own, is Fell 42 Crusoe. You'll need your man Friday by then, I can tell you. 2,004. Oh, hang on. I forgot. Hospital Pass, you would have done 24,500 feet to climb by then. Oh, I've ruined it, haven't I? Hospital Pass cumulative crime was... Crime? What am I doing? Hospital Pass cumulative climb was 24,500 feet. You don't want me to go through them again, do you? 40 was Dad's shed, 41 was Wind Scratch, and last one was Crusoe at 2,417 feet. But then you'll have the long road stretch back to finish at the Candlewick Boathouse, and you'll have done 27,000 feet to climb, and let's hope you've all made it. Ta-ra for now!
Was it? Well, yeah, well, thanks for that, everybody. I think it's time we said goodbye. Camo?
Yeah, if you're out on the fells, make sure you enjoy yourself, but you've got to push, you've got to suffer, but don't go the wrong way, or you'll die!
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Camo. Yorkshire, any final words?
Yes. It's a goodbye from me, Bartholomew, Earl Grey. Just you be careful out there. You know, we're not barbarians, you know. Yeah, bye, everybody. Yeah, thank you very much.
Melanie, would you like a final word? No. Okay. Sorry, Peaches. Oof. Goodbye. Best wishes, everyone. From Lincoln, Nebraska. Who? Well, I don't know. Well, here comes Three Coats for a final word. Watch what you're doing with those poles.
Sorry, still getting used to them.
Will you watch what you're doing with those sticks? You're lethal with them.
You can't order me around, Jam Butty. I'm your superior. I'm a number 2.
Yes, you are, Three Coats. Yes, you are. Goodbye for now, everybody. And have fun on those fells.